Hello, everyone. Welcome to the episode of a gaming podcast, episode 47. Sorry, Camille, to cut you off there, but you know.
They don't know that. They don't know you cut me off. Now they just know you're evil.
Yeah, now I just think you're just mean.
I apologize. If I was evil, I could be like, we're just one on.
It was literally,
show,
it just proves you're not a narcissist. That's all that does.
I really gave you a warning. You know what, Dr. Van?
Oh no, you're cut off.
Steve Von Doom, I see there. Yeah. Oh, doing the pose. I
wish I had the sunglasses. Oh, that was a cool. Oh man, I was at the cottage when I was trying to just update my Twitter just to see what was happening in Hall H, and I freaked out. I don't know. Were you okay with spoilers? I mean, it's out there now, right? I guess.
No, I don't think it's really a spoiler.
Okay, yeah. Well, I freaked out when Robert Downey Jr. was like they said he was cast, and all my friends were like they kind of had already Marvel fatigue, and they're like, oh, they're just going back to the well again, and I'm like, what? You don't know what you're talking about.
For me, with that sort of stuff, I'm just like a wait and see type of guy.
Sure.
It's like, okay, Robert Downey Jr. has a bottomless pit of money. He's got an Oscar on his shelf now.
Yes.
I feel like he's not taking this just because it's like, yeah, it's an easy paycheck. You know, the idea had to have been enticing enough for him to be like, all right, we'll come back. We'll do this one more time.
Exactly.
I'll be your villain, you know?
He's also getting paid a lot more.
Oh, he is definitely getting for sure. That's a big part of it.
They said it's more than the 80 million that he got before.
Yep.
I think
the Russos themselves are getting 80. They're getting 80 million, the directors. And then in the Variety article, it said that Robert Downey Jr. was getting significantly more than that.
Yep.
Which he's probably, I'd say he's probably getting like 50 each. So like an easy 100 mil for the two Avengers movies. Which that's just the Robert Downey fare, right? Like that's just
it's the price
too, right?
The Russos are getting $80 million. So right now, across these two movies, just for the directors and Robert Downey Jr., we're looking at about these are they're gonna cost $1 billion to make these.
Yeah, probably.
And I mean they're gonna make that money hand over fist.
100%.
Again, I'm just a wait and see type of guy. I do wish we couldn't gotten like a proper build up to Doctor Doom, but maybe we will. Like, we still got a year in between now and when the movie comes out.
That's kind of my thing. No, but that's the thing. I feel like
I wish he was the villain of Fantastic Four.
No, but I think Marvel really established this whole idea of like the build up to the villain, where it's like, I think that's part of the fatigue is that build up to the villain. I think it's a really interesting choice to go where it's like, oh, these are the movies with the villain. They're showing up. There may be hints. They're not saying there's not going to be hints in the other movies, but there may be hints. And I think that then puts more focus for the directors to be like, okay, I don't have to worry about these other movies where my villain may have to be introduced to have that build up. I could focus on just my movie and how I want Doctor Doom to make his presence known.
Not to make this a full like the MCU podcast.
I mean,
like, we could. But like, what's probably going to happen is that like they'll 1,000% introduce him in like a post-credit scene or at the end or something like that in Fantastic Four. And then
which would make sense to why they had to explain, like why they would break that news now.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And then Doomsday will be the like how Infinity War was essentially an origin story for Thanos. Doomsday will be like, we're going to give you a little bit of the action, a little bit of the team up, but it's mostly going to be like, here is Doctor Doom's story. Yeah. He's like our main character. And then Secret Wars
sets up Secret Wars.
Let's take them down, you know?
Do you think, okay, so I got this question. I know we're not going full MCU podcast, but why the hell not?
Basically,
do you think we see Doctor Doom take off the mask? And if he does, do we see a bunch of prosthetics? So we don't actually
I think he'll have a damaged-ish face.
Like, do they do a penguin?
You don't cover up $100 million.
I don't think so. I think you can. I think they could do a whole penguin thing.
They could.
They very well could.
I mean, because being Doctor Doom, he has to be menacing.
But the thing is, I think
you see Robert Downey Jr., you think Iron Man, and you're lovable.
I think what they're going to do is they're going to do a little bit of like a deformed face, but people would have like still like who don't know anything about Marvel will still have to be able to tell, oh, that's Tony Stark, like a variant of Tony Stark, because he did say, because the only things that he said on stage was new mask, same task. So it's a different mask now. But one of the things that Tony Stark tried to do in the Marvel or in the MCU was put a shield or put a coat of or whatever armor around the world. And I feel like that's what Dr. Van Doom in his world is trying to do.
I think the same task is like the avenging part, and it might have something to do with Latveria and like his people in Latveria, because a big part of Dr. Doom is his like he's oppressed, right? And like Latverian people are too, and so like I wonder how much they're gonna. I don't know. I'm happy the Russos are back.
Wasn't there like a storyline where
all that I'm happy about is that
there was a storyline where he was Dr. Von Doom? Yes.
There's been a couple Iron Man back.
I mean, like he escapes like from America and like ended up in Latvia or something like that. I think there was a storyline for where US maybe was the superpower.
There's been like what ifs of Iron Man becoming Von Doom.
Versions, yeah.
I'm very curious if it's going to be like he's actually Stark, but he's Dr. Doom, or if it's like no.
It's a variant.
Von Doom.
No,
but he looks like
it cannot be a variant. It cannot be a variant.
That's what they're trying. That's what they've been setting up this entire time. It's basically it's the closing of the multiverse
podcast. We talk about all things Marvel.
I don't know if they've been setting.
Have you seen Deadpool yet?
I think if this is a Doctor Doom and they're doing Doctor Doom justice, I think it's not doing Doctor Doom justice to have it as a variant.
Right, but have you seen Deadpool and Wolverine?
Yes, I have, but I don't think that it's going to be a variant. I think what they've learned from Marvel Pass and what they're trying to do is they're trying to have this set apart in a sense where can link things, but then it's also separate. From
experience, I have been talking to MCU and Marvel stuff with Camille for years and years and years. Go on. Camille, the tinfoil hat, it's
but how many times?
She's gotten a lot right. She's gotten a lot right. But the tinfoil hat is whenever we talk about MCU anything or Marvel anything, Camille's got the tinfoil hat right there outside the box. Ready.
You gotta think outside the box.
I'm hyped. I'm hyped for the future.
I'm telling you, I think with all this Marvel fatigue that has been going on, I think it's a disservice to bring a villain like Dr. Doom that people have been wanting to then be a variant of Tony Stark. And I think they're aware of that. And when he was talking about different mask, same task, I think it was just the Avengers part. I don't think it's necessarily the character. That's the different mask part. And I think that's why it would be a very interesting choice if they make him unrecognizable, because he is one of the greatest actors of our time.
And he has
the ability. Well, no, they could show his face, but they could do it like how they do Penguin. You don't even realize that's Colin Farrell.
The thing is, I agree with you that it would be great to be able to see, Robert Downey Jr. kind of take on a different, type of acting with, obviously because we saw Colin Farrell in the Penguin and he did really good with that. And he's unrecognizable as Colin Farrell, but you still get, the acting prowess of it. I think though that here's the thing, Disney plays it safe. They would not spend that much money on an actor and you don't recognize that it's him.
It's even simpler than that. It's even and this is not a knock to Robert Downey Jr. because he makes the big bucks and he gets paid the big money for a reason. He's a great actor. He's good at his job. The reason why he will not, and I can take this money to the bank, he will not pick up or read or learn a single line or issue of anything Doctor Doom related. This guy's going to wait for the scripts to come to him.
Yep.
He doesn't give a crap about this character. Okay.
Yeah.
He will put the work in as an actor. Yeah. He does not. But
you have to think of what the Russo brothers
an allegiance to this.
That's the Russo brothers' responsibility.
But then the Russo brothers are going to think, we got Robert Downey Jr. for the job, because this Variety article had a lot to do with saying the Russos weren't coming back until Robert Downey was like, I'll only come back if they do.
But
he
they wanted
Mm.
him as Dr. Doom from the start.
And they wanted him as Dr. Doom from the start because, as well as anybody, Marvel especially knows, when you put his face on the poster, when you put his face in the trailers, when you tease the idea that the greatest hero in the MCU is now its biggest villain, it will get
to a general audience. It makes sense.
But before we were going into the
one
MCU,
thing,
they wanted him
as
Dr. Doom if they were ever going to do a
Camille,
Dr. Doom movie.
Is that they might, for some of the trailers and some of the posters, they might hold off on him taking off the mask for at least for
like the second
our moms and aunts and uncles out there who don't go to Comic-Con, for them to be like,
the problem.
Oh my God, the villain is Iron Man.
Here's the thing. The problem with all
that reveal,
he's gonna show his face.
Because they would have announced his name. That reveal was gonna happen. They would have left that reveal for the movie. Imagine that moment. You're like, oh man, they made Dr. Doom, and it's like, oh it's Iron Man. That's a reveal for post-credit in Fantastic Four. Yes. That's why I think that is not the way they're going.
No, here's the thing. Like what you just said was exactly what the plan was going to be if we still had the Kang dynasty going. Yeah. Because they skipped all of that and basically went straight forward into Doomsday. That is why we're getting the reveal that Robert Downey Jr. is Dr. Von Doom now. I could guarantee that at some point in one of the Avengers Kang Dynasty movie that that Dr. Doom would have been in it, and then there could have been a very cool reveal. He takes off the mask. We see it's Robert Downey Jr. Credits, and that would have set up for
that is the hype moment that MCU fans would go crazy for. You would still try to save that moment,
but they couldn't do that.
I think they realized Kang wasn't as interesting.
What?
Like,
no, whoa.
There's a lot of people.
Whoa.
Kang was not as. I'm telling you right now, Kang was not as interesting. Besides the whole personal life thing. Camille,
did you watch
before?
I'm just letting you know. A lot of people didn't like
the Jonathan Major stuff.
Yeah, that's Ant-Man. But before Jonathan Major,
Kang was his personal stuff. Yeah.
What was when they said Kang was gonna be the next guy, it made sense. Like that's if you're gonna go from Thanos, Kang is your next Avengers villain.
Yep.
They put him in Ant-Man and they flubbed it. They completely missed the mark.
But with Loki, I think they
and then you know what they did with Loki? They said they wrapped in a neat little bow Kang's whole storyline.
Yeah,
and they gave themselves an out. They totally gave themselves like we can end it right here.
But because of Jonathan Majors, but to say Kang is not an interesting villain, that's a totally different statement than wrapping it up.
He wasn't clicking with the general audience.
He wasn't clicking with
And because of Marvel, what they did with Quantumania.
Not like the actual character, but this version of Kang was not. It wasn't clicking with the audience.
And here's the thing:
I would disagree with that because this version of Kang was clicking with the audience. It was the fact that Ant-Man sucked.
Hold on. Add to your thing, Camille. That was the only movie Kang was in. If you yes, I agree with you. He was so good in Loki, but not everyone watched Loki.
Yeah. But
not everyone is watching all the Disney Plus TV shows.
Can I say what would be really cool is if Kang showed up in Marvel Rivals. The new beta is out this past weekend. A bunch of people have been playing.
100%. Yeah,
I jumped in. I've been loving it. This is.
You know what? Shall we talk about it before?
We should talk about video games on the game.
Talk about this.
To clarify, I will say just to end it. To clarify, Camille, you may be 100% right on certain things. I'm not disagreeing with you. It's just. We're in a very weird spot that we've had in the Marvel universe. We've had the pandemic, we've had the strike, we've had obviously Jonathan Majors being a big issue. That I think that Marvel and Disney were like, let's just sweep it on the rug. Would it have been easier to recast Jonathan Majors? Yes.
Oh, but I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not disagreeing with that. What I'm disagreeing with the statement that Kang's not an interesting enough villain and that people didn't like Kang as a villain. You could take the character out of
I'm just telling you what the masses are saying.
No. The masses said Ant-Man sucked. they didn't say Kang was stupid. They didn't
Right.
say
I
how
think
they
it was
did
just
Kang
a bad
was stupid.
introduction for him.
It was a bad
That's
introduction for him, but
Yeah.
he was a really good villain, and he was still menacing, and Loki proved that. So if Jonathan Majors didn't F that one up, I think they still would have went with Kang, but because of the issues of Jonathan Majors, they were like, you know what, we need an out of this if this turns really bad, and that's what they did. So like I would, oh my god, for you to say Kang is not an interesting.
He didn't click with the general
I'm
audience.
just saying, it's not my statement. I'm just hearing that they were even thinking it before his own issues came up. He wasn't clicking. There were already statements out there saying before
it's not even
that happened with him.
Jonathan Majors.
I'm just letting you know what I'm hearing.
What he did, obviously, but it's not Jonathan Majors' fault that it wasn't clicking. I mean, it's his fault that they pivoted. It's not his fault that he wasn't interesting. It's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania's fault that he.
I'm gonna give this 4 minutes.
You don't make your big next Avengers villain's first appearance the one where he loses. It's not even that it was an Ant-Man. It's he loses in his first major movie role appearance. I think this is your next Avengers.
But it was a movie issue. Like I would not argue that to be a character issue, and the redemption that happened with Loki, I think, helped make him more of a menacing character.
With Loki, it wasn't that he was like a villain. It was more of like a redemption for the character and to try and course correct the wrongs of Kang. And again, Loki season 2 was the perfect out for Marvel. They wrapped a neat little bow on the whole Kang storyline. If they wanted to say, it's done. We diverted and avoided the war.
That wasn't the original plan for Loki season 2. It was after Jonathan Major stuff.
I think Loki season 2.
Loki season 2 was done. I think. I think probably near the end they might have changed it.
But it's just by pure coincidence that it ended the way that it did, and it almost seems like it ended with finality. Originally, it was maybe supposed to be like all is well, and then it's like, oh wait, we did nothing, as the Kang War was still going to happen. But now when you look back on it, it is almost coincidental that they ended Loki season 2 the way that they did, because then you're like, that kind of wraps up the whole Kang thing.
You can kind of tell that they sort of wrapped it up, like they decided to wrap it up near the end, because they already had like all of Jonathan Majors pretty much throughout the entire season, and then it looked as if that they basically kind of changed it near the end.
And that's what happened. Ending of it.
So you can tell
that was the original ending where he like just
But Kang and Marvel Rivals would be
a much better character now.
Kang
and Marvel Rivals would be great. Marvel Rivals has been a ton of fun. I've been putting a lot of hours.
Kang would be great. Kang would be awesome.
Comic-Con, they actually just announced Thor and Jeff the Baby Landshark, the cutest thing I've ever seen in my whole life. And it was like almost
pretty bomb. I'm not
a pseudo shadow drop that Thor and Jeff ended up dropping into the beta post when the beta officially started. So that was Jeff is a great support character. Thor, I haven't really been meshing well with. He's not.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad.
I don't.
I feel like he needs a buff, in his attacks a little bit.
It's just that there's like this very specific play style with Thor, and I feel like the play style that you have to like tune yourself to with the character doesn't make it feel like Thor. You know what I mean? Like there's just because the idea behind Thor is he has these 3 charges, right? You can use those charges to either spin your hammer and fly at someone, to throw the hammer, or when you have 3 max charges, you go into a lightning stance and like shoot lightning, right? Yeah. And it's like the whole idea, the whole concept behind Thor is you want to get the 3 charges, you want to go in the lightning stance. And that's why to me it's like it just doesn't like feel like, oh, I'm playing as Thor right now. You know what I mean? Like when you play as Venom, you feel the power of Venom. And it works so well within the context of a PvP game, right? Yeah. Or if you're playing as Iron Man or Spider-Man, same sort of thing. So Thor's just not really hitting. Jeff is a ton of fun though. Jeff, even as DPS, he does really well. He's great for support as well. Teams up really well with Luna Snow. So if you got 2 healers on your team, those are the 2 to go for, I think. Honestly, in general, Marvel Rivals is just looking more and more polished as each day goes on. I am really, really surprised with the game. Looking at the Steam concurrent numbers too, a ton of people are jumping in. I think it was hitting like
crazy
50K peak. 50K peak on a closed beta is kind of nuts. I'm not gonna lie.
They're literally breaking the website to redeem your code.
That's absolutely
people have their Twitch drops and they can't even redeem their code.
It's like bananas.
Every day. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's bananas. I mean, I streamed yesterday and the Twitch drops happen at like 8 p.m. Eastern, right?
Yeah.
And like yeah, people were living in the chat. People want to get their hands on this game. And, I think it's going to be free to play. I'm assuming with the alpha back in May and a beta to follow just 2 months after that, this game's coming out this year. Like, that's got to be They haven't announced that officially. No.
Okay.
They kept it safe and said 2025. I don't believe that.
I don't even know if they've said that officially.
There's been I've seen some
I think a lot of people were just assuming that was
20. Yeah, maybe.
I would say maybe full launch in 2025, but maybe early release in 2024.
Maybe.
Because they came out with the cinematic at Comic-Con as well.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like the launch almost cinematic, right? And then so I think we get through this closed beta.
September.
Yeah, we get through this closed beta. They announced. I think they announced an open beta for either August or September, and then this will be like the real stress test to see like if these servers can handle a ton of people jumping in. And then after that, if they're like, we're good, let's get ready. Yeah, you're either going to see October or November, or just like around like holiday season launch at the very latest. In early 2025.
I think that honestly,
January, February.
I think that honestly, if they release in October, November, I think that they're going to see a lot of nominations for Game Awards, and I think that may be what they're trying to be able to do.
Oh, you think
I never even thought about that.
Yeah,
I never even thought about that. And you're absolutely correct.
Do you think they want to avoid November though with COD though?
COD maybe, but that like because COD is October 25th. But I would
different audience.
It's a different audience, yeah. It's a hero shooter versus like a multiplayer
play, and it's a Marvel brand. Listen, it would be one thing if it's like they're just slapping Marvel on this for the tackiness of it all, like Marvel's Avengers. But like no, like they're actually really taking care of and like paying good respect to this Marvel world and the characters, and like minus a couple of missteps, like I'm not really feeling Thor or some other characters. For the most part, it's wild how every single character is like, yeah, that's how that Marvel character would work in a PvP game.
Yeah,
it's actually insane how well made this game is, and also as well, the art style is just so good. It is beautiful to look
gorgeous.
At, and the character designs are phenomenal. It gets me so hyped for like if they get like Wolverine in there, Captain America, I feel like is a surefire bet, or Black Widow, to see what their designs are going to look like. Like Thor looks awesome in the game. But he looks
costume
really
for Thor as well.
Yeah. And then I also Capcom Venom too. Like hell yeah.
Although they never said it's from Marvel's Capcom. They're like, this is from this guy. I'm like, come on, guys.
But
we all know where it's from.
But I also do like that a lot of the voice actors are like they've been voice acting that character for a lot. Like we got Yuri as Spider-Man, we got Travis Willingham as Thor, and is it Nolan North doing? No, he's not doing Iron Man.
Nolan
is he?
North is Rocket Raccoon.
Rocket Raccoon. That's right.
Josh Keaton, which is kind of he's been doing the voice of Iron Man in a couple of.
That's true. Yeah, he's been a few. Like I think he was in Marvel's Avengers. I think.
Yes. No. I think it was Nolan North in Marvel's.
That
Avengers.
Was Nolan. Yes.
Yeah.
You're right. But anyway, I love that they love that. I love that they have that continuity within at least the Marvel games side of things. I only got a chance to play like just more of the PvE aspect. I didn't get to jump into sort of any PvP, but I did play around with pretty much all the characters because they got a great tutorial where you can just sort of just jump in with a character and try the moves, see what it's like, and I kind of gravitate towards Iron Man probably the most because it seemed to be kind
good
of
right now.
He seemed to fit sort of at least the kind of style that I was sort of going into with. But the only thing I had that unfortunately there's not a lot of accessibility, which is sad, but the one thing
that's just because it's a beta. Like I'm
hoping so, but even then, I think that I would have loved to at least seen something added in there just so they can be able to test out. I think the only thing that kind of like it was weird for me that did it seem slow to you as far as like the characters? Because I'm trying to fly around as Iron Man. So he seems so slow.
So it'll definitely feel that way if you're playing in a solo environment or if you're in like the practice range or something like that. It's this weird.
I felt that even in the PvE, like when I was playing with players versus AI.
Yeah, so it's this weird thing where like when you're in kind of a more tame environment, like it does feel as though these characters are kind of just walking. You know what I mean?
But like no sprint.
when there's like the hecticness of like the payloads on running around the bend and you're spawning in with all your teammates, like there is something where like you get sucked in enough where you're just not feeling the lack of movement.
Okay.
And there's some characters obviously that can move like that got that kind of like Spider-Man. I feel like would be really up your alley because of the web swinging. Venom maybe even more so because Venom is just like a bullet sponge. But yeah, like I'm with you that maybe they can just like crank it up by like 25%.
Yeah,
when it comes to its speed.
Adam Warlock needs that for sure.
It is one of those things where like when you are in the heat of the battle, you don't really feel slow. You know what I mean? When everything's going on at once, it kind of makes sense why the characters move at the speed that they do, because otherwise it's like you'll just never be able to kill anyone. No one's ever going to die. The healers are always going to be able to get into the battle back in time to heal everyone up, even after you take them down or something. There's something about it that does feel balanced, but I think if they bumped it up just a tiny bit, it would make the world of a difference.
Yeah,
the maps look really good too. I'm really
destructible environments, very helpful. You know,
and the destructible environments are like important to the gameplay too. Like, there's been a lot of times where I'm like, okay, we need to destroy this structure because it gives too much cover to the enemies, and it's going to help us out if they're a bit more exposed, or like sometimes somebody's going to be up on a bridge above me.
Snipers up there. You're like, no, come down here. You know,
you knock down that bridge, and then they drop down in front of you, and it's kind of like an oh snap moment. You know, like that. It's crazy how integral that stuff is to the gameplay, and it's really really fun. There's just a lot of care that went into this. It's not one of those like, oh, it's NetEase. It's going to be like a console version of a mobile game, quick little cash grab. No, man, they put in the work. They put in the work on this one, and I think it's going to be really successful if they have a decent rollout plan after they launch.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm very excited for everything they've done, and everything's just been smooth, and besides the key giving part, but you know that just shows you the demand of this game, honestly. So, but yeah, that's really cool. And there's 5 days left. It ends on Sunday, right?
I think August 5th is the last day. Yeah. They were doing Twitch drops up until I think today is the last day to try and get
they did 2 rounds of drops.
I will say though, I do like having betas, like the testing period open for a longer time. Like I kind of feel like more PC games, like or PC centric games, do it for a longer period of time, where like more games will just be like just the weekend, and it's like whoa. You can't just drop this news and we have plans on the weekend and not have it available on the weekdays. Come on, get with it.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you on that. I'm really glad that for both the alpha and this beta, they've given like quite a bit of time for people to like really sink their teeth into the game and like learn the mechanics and everything.
And make content around it too.
Yes,
like,
No, super.
I didn't even know it was extended. I just thought it was the weekend because I only got a chance to play a little bit before I went away for the weekend. And I was like, oh well, okay, that's it. I'll have to wait to the next one. And then when they were like, oh yeah, it's still going, I'm like, oh okay. Now I think I'm going to jump into it maybe tonight if I can.
Yeah, for sure. Highly recommend it. I've been having an absolute blast with it, and again, I really do hope that it's coming out this year. I just can't wait to see what other characters they're going to add to it. They've had like a really good balance with like characters that obviously have projectiles that can shoot or do something of that sort, but then also melee based characters like Hulk or Black Panther or Spider-Man, right? And so like a character like Wolverine could totally work in a game like this and can have a really fun toolkit. Or a character like Cyclops could totally work in this. You know, Doom,
Captain America, throw the shield, bouncing around, So.
And then there's the team up attacks too, right? Like that comes into play. Now, granted, I feel like it's less of this character directly doing something with this character and more of like, well, if you have a Scarlet Witch on your team and you're playing as Magneto, you get an extra move. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I kind of wish there would be more of like, all right, you got Wolverine on your team. You can do the fastball special with Hulk. Like Hulk can grab you and throw you as a projectile at the enemies or something. Or like you got Captain America on your team. You can pull up your shield and Iron Man can shoot at it to burst out his repulsor blast, right? Like more things that like make the team up attacks actually feel like we are coordinating this right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And less of just like, can you pick this character so I get an extra move? You know, because that's what I've been feeling like it's mostly come down to.
Yeah. Steve, what's going on with Star Wars?
Yeah. So, Ubisoft invited me to a virtual demo event. Unfortunately, I didn't get to do the Disney trip as others did, but that's fine. I've been to Disney before. It's all totally fine. But no, it was great because I got a chance to be able to play at least 4 hours of the game.
Nice.
Across 2 different planets, and you got to try pretty much all of the mechanics and gameplay that you get to do within the game, except like you kind of get to see a little bit of the character progression stuff, but you didn't really have a lot of time to be able to kind of like really do that. I mean, unless you sort of like that was your main focus throughout it, but you did get to try it a whole bunch, and honestly, I wish I was still playing it. It was that much fun. I had a blast from minute one. It hits that Star Wars sort of gameplay, like open world that we wanted. But it doesn't feel like it's that sometimes usual Ubisoft bloat where the maps are too big or there's too many little side things to do and they don't have any relevance to anything. There's like, if you want to live in this in sort of like what we've been wanting for years in some Star Wars games, kind of like the high, Jedi, whatever lightsabers, you want to kind of be on the ground, a ground level of Star Wars. This is a great game to be that. You are a scoundrel. You are I know some people just don't like the term. It's like it's Grand Theft Auto in Star Wars, but it kind of has a little bit of that sort of feel, but that like only just that you're a criminal, and that's kind of where it stops, because everything else just sort of fits within the Star Wars lore. Like you get to do tasks, you get to do a bunch of different sort of jobs for for different syndicates, and that will either increase your reputation with one or decrease it with another. But that also determines how you be able to go about and to do different types of missions. Like one example, and I won't spoil it, but there are 2 syndicates that we got to play with on the or got to sort of check out within this planet, and you have to at one point, in order to be able to upgrade something, you have to basically go steal an item from one of the syndicates. Both syndicates have it. If you have a good reputation with one, your instinct is to not want to, screw them over. You want to screw over the ones that you don't have a good reputation with. But there's a difference in how you approach those missions. If you don't have a good reputation, you have to now have to figure out a way to sneak into their base and stay hidden without getting caught, so you can be able to find that stolen item. But if you have a good reputation with the other one, you could just walk right in. And you could just kind of go and try to find the area that you're not, like the restricted area still, that you have to try to find and steal it. But once you get out of that area, you can just walk right out and you're good to go. So it makes the mission a little bit easier, but you're also screwing over the syndicate you kind of like. So it's kind of that balance of, you have to try to figure out who it is that you want to be able to like increase your reputation with, and who to just kind of like just screw over. And it's really, really cool. I think that honestly, and I like accessibility wise, I think it's definitely one of the best accessible Ubisoft games ever been. I think it's definitely looks like to be potentially the most accessible Star Wars game we've ever had, and that's even saying some based off of Star Wars Jedi Survivor from last year. But like I just love like the HUD, the UI, the interface just looks really damn cool. You can kind of tell they made it to sort of be playable potentially on a handheld system, because the interface is large enough that I could see people wanting to be able to play it on Steam Deck or on an Ally. I don't see it being on a Switch because it definitely ain't powerful to handle that. But I could see like they really kind
maybe
of
the Switch successor.
Maybe I don't know. It's got a lot in it though. But I just there's a lot of really cool stuff that's there. The way you upgrade your character K and also is based off of, you have to go to find experts and you basically have to like do missions for them, and in return they will give you either a part to be able to upgrade a weapon or upgrade your character, or they'll give you like special skills that you can unlock. So instead of like the traditional RPG system where you're gaining XP and you put skill points into a tree, they don't have that. It's basically there are experts that you basically have like little storylines with, and it's great. And I will say the maps don't feel that big. It's kind of more open zone than necessarily open world. It just depends on the planet that you're in on how big that map really is. Like the one map that we had that was a little bit more larger than the second planet. They said that basically the largest map, basically you can go like and speeder across it within 4.5 minutes. But I think the map is big enough that it feels like you could still keep doing the story missions if you want, and you can still kind of breeze through those. But
I will say, sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, no,
because I saw so much outrage over that quote. I feel like not a lot of people realize if you play GTA 5 and you go from the bottom of the map to the top, it will take you like 10 minutes. Like if you're just driving, it's like, it looks like a massive open world and you pull up the map, but it is at the end of the day meant to be seamless, right? Like, it's not meant to be, well, let me go on this 5-hour drive on the freeway to get to freaking Mount whatever GTA. Like, no, it takes you like 10 minutes.
And I think as well, you're absolutely right. Like it definitely is. But in comparison, I guess, to other Ubisoft games, like, yes, this does seem like a much smaller map. But I think that
it's because there's multiple different maps you can explore.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that they kind of
people just don't think. Because people don't think
female protagonists. We need to find some negatives. You know.
Yeah. Exactly. But I think. But I think as well, like they do try to be able to make it seem as seamless as possible. Sort of feels like that you are constantly moving and like moving between different sort of planets. Like when you jump into your ship and you go up into space, they do there's moments where basically it's just a cinematic where it just kind of sends you up in space, so it doesn't feel like you're actually flying up to it like you would in, say, No Man's Sky, for example. But it is sort of meant to be like, okay, you're leaving the planet that you're on that map, but you can very easily go into space and find all the different stuff. Like that's a map in and of itself. And then when you hyperspace to a different planet, then that's a new map. So it's like that's why I say it's kind of a little bit more open zone than what open world that we're used to with Ubisoft. But I think that works better in this case. And so like there was even sometimes where because there was just the amount of like different side stuff you can be able to do is just so dang fun and just kind of works within the Star Wars world. Like there was one particular mission that I was just literally just standing by a bar. And then I was overhearing a conversation that was happening. And they said that there was like this treasure in behind a waterfall. And I was like, I wonder if it's actually there. So I left and I basically found the waterfall spot, went in behind it, and then that sent me on a multi-step sort of like side quest to be able to find like a special item that I didn't even think that I would have done that.
I love that.
Yeah. But what's really cool is that technically it also added a few extra steps, because in order to be able to complete that one quest, you need a special item for your blaster to be able to unlock it. So then you go in to be able to upgrade your blaster, come back, then you do that, finish that. It's just everything. It just seems seamless together, and it's just it just
kind of
feels
puts you in that
good,
world
man.
in a way. It kind of puts you in that world and just be like, oh, I overheard this rumor, let me go find out about it.
If there was one thing you would look at from your time playing the game where you're like, I kind of hope they improve on this, what would you say it would be?
I would probably say I don't know. I think probably maybe a little bit more of the space stuff, because I didn't get a chance to really play a lot fully with it, and it just seemed kind of pretty basic, where it's just shooting things or finding things. And I'd be very curious to see if there's actually like any proper missions in space that you get to do, like whether it's go up in towards a Star Destroyer or something like that.
Dock some ship.
Or like do some like subterfuge of like sneaking into like onto a ship or something like that. Like it just seemed that was the only thing that didn't have enough variety. Whereas like when you're on the planets you are. I think like that's kind of really it. It just seems that it sort of hits everything that you'd want from a Star Wars game, and also just from a the lessons learned from Ubisoft games and from the past. So
that's awesome.
Anyone have any other questions about it? Because I could totally answer a whole bunch.
No, I'm pretty much excited for this game. Actually, I think it's just something that I'm just looking forward to. That I don't want too much that I can explore and everything. I know I tried out as well, but I did watch your video today earlier, and then the more you talked about.
Here's a question, because Steve, I know you're into Star Wars. what kind of era of Star Wars fan do you think this most tailors towards?
Ooh, that's a good question. So the era that it's actually in the Star Wars universe is set in between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So this is when the Empire is at its ultimate peak, and they are very much a presence, pretty much everywhere. It's even in the planet, the different planets we're on, like you see stormtroopers everywhere. You see that that they're doing their thing, and you don't want to get involved with them, and they don't want to get involved with you. But if you do, like you're kind of screwed, or you get caught, that kind of thing. So it's definitely something you always have to keep in the back of your mind as you're doing these like criminal activities, essentially. But what I think that what I like, as far as like what I think what other Star Wars fans would like, I think if you are, I don't know, it doesn't really have like I think it has some stuff that prequel fans I think might like, but I think that this being the kind of the first time we're going back into the main like trilogy universe, I think this is going to hit for those fans maybe, and then just the context of the entire Star Wars universe. If you know the prequels, if you know like the main trilogy, if you know kind of the legacy stuff, that can kind of help sort of flesh out the extra bonus stuff. But if you like the original trilogy, I think you can be able to jump into this and pretty much easily pick it up.
How about if someone who wasn't into Star Wars?
Just about to ask that too.
Yeah, how would this game?
It'll be very hard to be able to like to play this if you're not a Star Wars fan, because there's stuff in there that is just very reliant on like I would say like basically like the different types of factions you have in there. You have the Hutt Syndicate, you have the Pike Syndicate, you have the Crimson Dawn, which is from the Solo movies, and so they're like if you're in Star Wars, you're gonna get, but if you're not, I think. I don't know. Maybe you can jump in. If I'm
just loosely in, am I still not going to like? There's not much of like a catch up in there. Like here's this syndicate. Here's a little rundown. Like,
they definitely do give you a little bit of.
Okay.
Yeah, they definitely do give you a little bit of what each syndicate sort of does. But unfortunately, because we were kind of dropped into a little bit of the middle where we didn't really get a lot of the world set up. We I don't know whether they go fully into that because I
would trust that they're gonna get like even for somebody who maybe has like the bare bones knowledge of Star Wars, they're gonna make sure that they're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, I mean, even when you're introduced to the different factions, because that is one that is this planet where you're on is where you do get to be introduced to a few of them. Essentially, like you don't necessarily need to know that lore in order to be able to understand who the Pikes are or who the Crimson Dawn is, because they kind of like you could just basically sort of take it and be like, oh, you could think it'd be just part of the game, and then that's it. But if you actually look further into the lore, oh, they've been a part of this for so long.
It's like, one of those things where it's like if you know, you just get the added little benefit of that, right? Whereas like if you're just going in completely unaware, you still might have fun, and it's just here are the different enemy factions that you're fighting.
I would say if you're more interested in Star Wars because of like Jedi, Sith, and lightsabers, this probably isn't for you. But if you are a little bit more interested in kind of the Han Solos of the universe, that's what this would be. This would be a game for you.
I gotcha.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. August 30th. That's coming out. Very excited.
That is right around the
corner.
Right. Holy smokes! Yeah. Wow.
Wild.
Oh my gosh.
Very, very, very quickly, I want to talk about this lovely little boy right here.
Oh, it's so good. I want it so bad.
Me too.
I think
it's so dang cute.
For the listeners, we're talking about the limited edition Astro Bot PlayStation 5 controller.
Yeah.
And it looks very, very nice.
$80 US, I believe.
Woo. Yeah, it's what is that? 90,
that's about
99
the whole goddamn game right there. So yeah,
that's the price for a DualSense right now, isn't
pretty much.
Yeah,
I love the little accents on it. I love that you got the Astro Bot eyes on the touchpad. The touchpad,
I wish they were digital. I wish they were like actually able to put in some LEDs on that, so then it's able to like make emotion, or like blink. That'd be cool. that would remind me,
so sleek, the metallic blue. Sorry,
what could be cool? What would be cool is like obviously, yes, I would love to have the eyes light up, but I mean, there's something that they can do based off of the technology that's in there. Imagine if it had like custom little sound effects of the little Astrobot as you try to move around like the different parts of the system. Like that'd be so.
You know what? Too, when they showed the like trailer for this controller, it really got me thinking. What if Astro's Playroom had a thing where it knew or recognized the controller you had.
Oh, yeah.
So like if I had like the Spider-Man controller connected to my PS5 playing the game, that would be the
That's some Kojima kind of stuff.
God damn.
That's so
cool. I know for a fact that they're going to do that with this controller specifically. Like there's no way they don't.
Well, it's the same. It's the same shape. It's the same, like basically they said it's like the controller that you see in the game that you basically is your kind of like your little ship. That's the controller that you got.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's like if it did connect, that would be so cool because Xbox controllers, on the Xbox, they already recognize different versions of the controller, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm pretty sure PlayStation does that behind the scenes. We just aren't aware of it. But it would be cool if it's like Astro Bot, you unlock that skin based on the controller.
Yeah.
But it'd just be like automatic, like you just boot it up, and all of a sudden it's like it's your controller that's there. I'm like, oh, that would be
the only compromise if that's like too difficult to do would be to like
you just choose which one
skins, essentially, right? And then it's just like, okay, I'm using my Spider-Man controller right now. I want it to be the Spider-Man one in the game.
The only thing that I could think that they may not go that route is because like Astro's Playroom was more hardware kind of focused as far as the Easter eggs and stuff you do in there. But with Astro Bot, I mean, Camille and I, we both saw that they were more character focused.
Yes.
So I think that's the kind of where they're going with the unlockables. But I would love it if they did like an unlockable.
It's sad though too because like I keep bringing up the Spider-Man controller as an example. That stuff always gets trickier because then you got to involve Marvel. That's why there's never going to be like a Spider-Man bot that you're going to find in this game.
Who knows?
Who knows? I would love it.
There might be some random red and blue bot for some reason, you know?
Maybe. I doubt it, but I would love to be proven wrong or experience the surprise of that.
Maybe Astro Bot Future, could do that. As Astro Bot gets bigger and bigger and like gets cuter and cuter, more studios may want to get involved and be able to lend their IPs to it.
I'll still say in general too, after getting my hands on it at Summer Game Fest, like it's one of my most anticipated games this year. Like I cannot wait for that game to drop.
Isn't it September 6th?
It's close. Yeah, I think it's pretty close.
And that controller obviously goes along with the game, comes out along with the game as well.
September's a packed month. Astro's Playroom,
jam-packed.
And a couple days later, Space Marine 2. And then later that month, the Mortal Kombat DLC, like holy smokes, it's a jam-packed month.
We're getting into the fall craze of things.
We are.
September is ending, but now we're getting like all these releases.
And as well too, like Star Wars on August 30th. So it'll be Star Wars.
And then we're starting to throw in Marvel Rivals.
Who knows where Marvel Rivals lands in the mix of all that too?
Oh, and then you get into that, and then you start to have The Legend of Zelda, Echoes of Wisdom,
and you have Call of Duty somewhere in there.
Oh my gosh!
And then I think we can't forget about Tokyo Game Show. And then
that's right. That's right.
Gamescom, all those gaming news. You know, we say it's a slow news week this week, but there's a reason for it because everything's getting ramped up.
They're ramping up. Yeah.
Wait, what's this week? It's Gamescom, isn't it?
No, that's in the 20th.
Comes in August.
20th. Oh, okay.
August. Yeah.
Something's happening.
Enjoy not having.
I know we've had a few months of just like not a lot, but I'm like we're ready to ramp up for the fall. Like get ready for a very like packed review season, as it were.
Absolutely. Steve on Doom. What's going on for you for the rest of the week? Doctor Steve. I
appreciate that. No, thank you.
He's a doctor.
He's a doctor.
If you want to be able to check out more of my specific accessibility thoughts on Star Wars Outlaws, you can be able to check out my YouTube channel. That video is there. Also, if you're listening to this / watching this goes up tomorrow, right? Okay, so if you're listening and watching this today, tonight at 7 p.m. or 6 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to be starting a watch party for the brand new adventure for Dungeons and Disableds. We've got if you go to our website right now, you can basically there's a brand new trailer up for the adventure. We've announced that we have a few folks coming in that are brand new to the show, and I'm just really excited to for people to be able to see this one. This one goes places. There's things that I had to DM that I've never had to DM that situation before, both wild and also just like just it can be heavy. It's going to be a good one, and I'm excited for people to be able to watch that. So yeah, the first episode goes up tomorrow night, technically at 7 p.m. Eastern on all podcast services. But if you want to watch, do a watch party with myself on my stream, go to Twitch, twitch.tv/Steve Saylor. We'll be starting at 6 p.m. for that watch party.
Awesome stuff. Can't wait to see that. Caboose, what's going on?
Yeah, I'm just streaming Marvel Rivals over on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Caboose. If this podcast is going up today, I don't know what time, but today would be the last day for drops. But I do have actually a bunch of keys that I'm going to be giving away. Unfortunately, all for PC, but still lots of keys to give away. So that's really exciting for anybody who wants to tune in. And yeah, that's it. Just going to be streaming, playing a bunch of Marvel Rivals, and kind of waiting for September when the new Mortal Kombat DLC drops. So yeah,
that trailer looked bomb. I'm
hyped. I'm
really hyped for that. Yeah.
You can check me out Twitter and Instagram at CabooseEK, and then youtube.com/Caboose.
Awesome. And best of luck with your key giveaway, because it's been wild, man. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
It's been absolutely crazy.
It's not my first rodeo.
Camille, what's going on?
Honestly, just enjoying the downtime. My garden is coming along pretty nicely, so
nice.
Doing that. NASCAR is always that's happening. You could check the VOD out because it's happening
Tuesdays,
tonight.
right?
You could check the VOD out tomorrow, and I'm probably missing a million other things, but hey, I live another day, and we live another day to enjoy talking about video games. So there you go. That's all that matters.
Damn, Camille with the wisdom there. All right. For me, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. More Marvel Rivals again. And yesterday, I guess I was on Logitech's channel, which is I had to thank my lovely co-hosts here and for allowing me to do this early today. And I think we're also doing a charity as well for on top of that. So come on by. I might give away some Marvel Rival keys on there. So maybe if you're watching this, it's too late. So.
I was about to say, I'm like, this was yesterday, right?
Give it away a mouse and some more rival keys, but stop by my channel MD14 for some more Marvel Rival keys and more wackiness of like, why is this person a healer instead of this? Because it's a video game. Relax, people. Okay, all right. The questions we get, it's crazy. But we'll see you all here next week. Have yourself a good one, everyone. Take care.